Welcome to Popcorn Playback. Today we recap a cerebral action thriller, After the Dark. Before we get to the storyline, like and subscribe for more recaps and have a great day. After a passionate evening, Petra and James have a tender morning together. Petra in a rush and James gets ready for school but chooses to spend more time in bed reading. As a result, he spends too much time in bed. Unfortunately, he nods out at the worst possible time, causing him to be late. He runs as fast as he can through the city up until he gets to Mr. Zimmet's philosophy class, where the teacher at first doesn't take him seriously as a pupil providing assistance, but he eventually caves in and accepts it. There will be no more classes after today, and Mr. Zimmet is interested in hearing about the students' experiences with their preferred mental tests. You'll get gibberish, as Chip puts it. If you give a chimpanzee a typewriter and an endless supply of paper, if given an infinite amount of time, it will eventually write out the whole of Hamlet. Jack mentions the trolley system challenge, where the participant must choose to pull a lever that would result in the deaths of either one of four individuals. A funny approach is to recast it as the obese man problem, in which case, all you have to do is press a button. You may slow down the trolley by placing a huge figure on the tracks. Georgina likes the paradox of ignorance as bliss. In this case, someone is leaping from the highest building on purpose to see how well they can control their parachute. Close friends and family will provide help. However, their friends are afraid that they may be wounded if they try to assist them up. They were dragged too far, sending them fleeing. Someone has taken a tumble, but doctors aren't sure whether they'll make it. Whether or not ignorance is bliss, they'd rather know that their pals wouldn't come to their rescue. Zimmet gives his students one more mental challenge before the school year ends. Pretend a nuclear apocalypse is about to occur and prepare to spend the end of days in a bunker. Zimmet begins by painting a vivid mental picture of the scene for the audience, a radiation cloud around the area. Zimmet guides them through the complex in their minds. He pinpoints the problem by noting that only 10 individuals can be fed at this time. There are 20 students taking the class. They have to be selective about who they let in, who they keep out, since resources are limited. Petra is equally disinterested. She may even be more, so she climbs to her feet and walks out, content in the knowledge that she is safe from Zimmet's violence because of her perfect academic records, lowering them a little bit. Instead of encouraging James to do better in class, Zimmet threatens to lower his grades. Petra will always have to stay if she performs badly in the class. Next, Zimmet distributes cards bearing the random job description given to each person. He opens the parcel in advance of James. Zimmet picks up a card, coughs at the counter, and then hands the card over to Petra. It's okay if the students have a look now. They tried their hands at a wide variety of professions, from harpists to wine auctioneer and beyond. A researcher and a space traveler. Toby begins to tell you that he has had poems published, but he runs out of time before he can finish. Before killing him, Zimmet admits that he grabbed the weapon from the bunker during their conversation, since he refused to go inside the bunker. This is a kinder option than letting him perish from radiation exposure. Every subsequent student votes from within the bunker after successfully arguing for entry. There are 9 potential choices: the structural engineer Petra, the farmer James, from Dr. Georgina to Chip, a carpenter, Jack, a physicist, and Bonnie, a soldier, Amacide, a senator, Andy, a plumber, and Poppy, a therapist. The harp-playing Russell, the hedge fund managing Plum, the gelato-making Parker, and the hedge fund managing Kavi. Nelson, the manager, and astronaut Yoshiko. Mitzi, an auctioneer of fine wines. A concluding Zimmet and the opera vocalist Utami are vying for the same role. According to Petra, A wild card is a risky proposition, but Jack says he doesn't need an opera singer and would rather take his chances with Zimmet. It's possible that someone is keeping something from us. The outcome favors Zimmet, and the pairings are set as a result. They take 5 minutes to say their goodbyes and then shuffles their decks around to make it seem like they're still working. Sharing their last thoughts with the world, they discover that Zimmet has killed someone after hearing gunshots. Everyone was denied entry, justifying their actions by saying they were doing the right thing in the end. Everyone can't believe it. Quietly, Petra conveys her displeasure at Zimmet's presence in the bunker to James. What James creates a plot in which they convince everyone to gather plans outside the bunker. The gathering moves inside at the scheduled time. The bunker locks the door behind Zimmet and turns off the external keypad. Then, as they go out, they find a gym, a library, a daybed, and an indoor garden. Before retiring their own cots for the night, on the king-sized bed, James and Petra have a talk in which he tells her that everything will be okay. When James and Petra fear Zimmet has fallen asleep and checks on him, only to discover that he is being consumed by the radiation. Zimmet pulls out a letter, abruptly stating that all other keys have been lost. A brief phone call is made by Petra to the group, and they begin arguing about what to do. In conclusion, instead of listening to him, they decide to spend another year in the bunker. The following is very boring, and people have trouble staying interested with even mundane tasks. On a daily basis, Petra ensues Zimmet's decomposing body, and every so often a dog would come and scavenge on it once. After a year of planning, the group is finally ready to go public. The students then try many methods to break down the door. It was a total flop. They try to stretch the food they have for a few more days, but they know they can't. Because they have exhausted all other choices, they have decided to end it all by themselves. In class, Zimmet calls it quits on the project and comes clean about his background in bunker construction. Since he built the bunkers, he is the only one with access to its code. The young people have decided to give Montclair State University another go. Bromo. Zimmet tries again, and this time, Petra notices to get a firearm. Then it's revealed that the cards they all have hides another detail that might impact voters' judgments. James's sexual orientation is defining. However, his popularity may be waning, but his agricultural knowledge is still highly regarded. Dr. Georgina, surgeon, had the Ebola virus, thus she's not welcome. Someone who plumbs the ranks of hedge funds carries a glittering gold clutch and is thus accepted everywhere she goes. Chips, the handyman, is both sterile and sexually active, acknowledged once again for his skills. Petra is a structural engineer who also engineers, thus they decided to spare her life. Andy, the electrician, admits that he has a disease that might kill him. Poppy, the therapist, doesn't have any kids. After revealing her sympathy for Petra, scientist Vivian finds herself once again on the outside of society. Jack, a chemical engineer, fortunate enough to have won the genetic lottery. Parker, the gelato maker, can possibly have two unique characteristics, thus this other person must possess two. Opera singer Utami has 2 languages under her belt, and she's working on her 6th one right now. Mitzi, the winemaker. The fashion designer Beatrice created a popular bamboo clothing brand for ladies. The harpist with autism Russell feels Amiseed will make history as the first woman elected to the Senate. Bonnie the soldier with her eidetic memory and is kept there once again. It's true that Nelson the housekeeper, according to Petra, they're low on men. Amiseed argues that the economy needs more salaried workers who are prepared to put in lengthy hours. Using Toby's, Zimmet retaliates by informing the poet that he should not discuss the peculiarities of his character in the setting, since nobody has figured out the secret yet. Zimmet then gives Georgina the key to the vehicle, while those who were left outside tried to make a frantic exit. Unfortunately, the automobile was damaged by the explosion. The chosen ones also begin their dash to the underground shelter. Things settle back into their normal, boring pattern after a while. Midway during the night, Petra wakes up, and because James wasn't in bed, she went looking for him and saw an intimate moment between him and Jack, who upon closer scrutiny is shown to be gay. Petra is hurt and runs to tell the others of what she saw. Bonnie and Kavi are the two members of the team, and both Nelson and Amacid are as well. To get even with her ex-boyfriend, Petra gives her consent to Zimmet about the plan, disregarding James's insistence that his feelings for her had not waned. If you haven't conceived after trying for 10 weeks, Zimmet recommends alternating patterns, stating that the ladies should juggle many suitors. Bonnie categorically disagrees with their suggested resolution, claiming that their logical reasoning goes too far. Zimmet leaves and then comes back with a gun to threaten them. Jack hides behind a corner as the others depart. Taking advantage of Zimmet's distraction, Jack rushes in and grabs the gun from him. Soon enough, Bonnie finds out. The two men continue to battle despite his threats, and Zimmet eventually emerges victorious. However, Jack uses the writing instrument as a weapon, stabbing Zimmet in the ear. Zimmet, distraught, approaches the house's front door and types in the code to open it, therefore luring everyone else to their deaths. Every single kid in the class got a bad grade again. James is becoming skeptical about Zimmet's true intentions with the drill. After giving him and Petra their task and mentioning Zimmet's unusual cough, coughing spells have ended. When Zimmet goes to get the package, James leans over and grabs it from his hand. He must have figured it out and uncovered its secret. It is shown that there are hidden compartments inside the box, and the deck of cards played by James and Petra has been rigged so that they would always win. Homophobic engineer and a gay farming duo, James wants to know why Zimmet hates him so much. Therefore, Zimmet alludes to Plato's metaphor of the cave. The protagonist's whole existence is a metaphor. According to this model of reality, he is imprisoned behind a solid wall where his senses are limited to seeing shadows and echoes. Seems to and it resembles. The man is released from his captivity and discovers that human people are the source of those sinister shadows, and the voices are what creates the echoes when people realize their false beliefs. It was all a big lie. Zimmet asserts that James would recognize this metaphor and makes parallels to his. This is an effort to help James see that he has been unprepared for the world outside his comfortable upbringing. However, James remains unconvinced. For the third round, James has to dress like a florist. At this time though, carry them off to a faraway island where the end of the world has not happened. Zimmet visits the bomb bunker and weapons as usual, and he pays no attention to a mysterious sound. When he emerges back into the real world, after learning how hard things have been for him, Petra rushes over to give him a hug of reassurance. Afterward, Petra claims she has a plan and they should follow her lead on who is allowed into the bunker. When everyone has come to an agreement, Petra makes the call and explains them. This is why Mitzi doesn't die. A good wine auctioneer would bring both red and white wine on a trip. Keeping everyone amused is a vital priority. Being attractive boosts one's self-esteem, therefore Beatrice is paired. It inspires effort, which has the potential to save the planet. The second of Toby's skills is being a professional poker player, thus his safe since he brought his own cards, entertainment. The fact that many people see autism as a gift is what helps rescue Russell in the end. Only a few of them. Although she has just been exposed to Ebola, Petra has promised to isolate her if she tests positive. She needs prayers offered to her. In 3 years, the opera singer Utami may have stopped singing, but the threat of drowning remains for everyone. listening to her music, and you'll both feel like you're being saved. Jack is adopted because he has perfect genes. The fact that he can't find a partner because of his sexual orientation saddens him. However, quickly, Parker shows who he really is and gets saved along with everyone else. Given the dire situation, Petra chooses James. The chosen few enter the bunker and form a circle in the lecture hall. Following Zimmit, he's been complaining the entire time, and now Petra has a failing grade because of his choices. The incompetence nearing the bunker sets off his rage, and he reaches for his rifle without thinking. Still, he cannot find it since Petra grabbed it from him during their last hug, and he has not seen it since. She gives it back to him. Unfortunately, it turned out to be unloaded. Petra administers 2 injections to Zimmit, claiming she doesn't want him to suffer while she watches him die. Same as before, except that when James brandishes a weapon at Zimmit, it is made very obvious that Zimmit was the one who initially threatened James' disorder among the bunkers. Zimmit thinks he is in mortal danger since no one else knows the secret escape code. Bonnie, however, was able to recall the whole event thanks to her photographic memory in time for one more try. Disheartened, Zimmit leaves. Chips take up the last available room after Bonnie turns down Petra's offer for the spot, saying she has plans to go on the boat and try to get out of the radioactive zone. They had a nice time in the bunker for a whole year thanks to card games, booze, and Shakespeare's performances and reading of poetry. Petra doesn't instantly reciprocate James's statement of love and used the same exact phrase to respond. In the bunker, they fix together old machines to make harps. When Russell plays it and Utami sings to it, their evenings take on a magical quality. Having waited a whole year, when they finally leave the bunker, the survivors learn that the bombs were never really dropped, so far as Zimmit has told us. While Petra maintains that no one can survive on an island because they lack the advanced technology required to do so, their time on Earth will be cut short, but they will be in good health and contented joy when our time has come to pass away. A rocket has just launched upon the coast, and James is preparing to destroy it when another one comes. But at the moment, Zimmit comes and shoots him down. In reality, he had found a cave. He went below far enough to avoid the radiation and has survived for a whole year. Located at the spot, Zimmit will not stand by and watch while they do something as illogical as destroy the human race. Declares that his last shot will kill James, but the rest of the players slowly creeps close to serve as a buffer between him and the threat. At this opportune moment, they set off the bomb, and the bomb wipes out the whole island. Zimmit, humiliated by his most recent homework, heads back to class, but Chips chimes in with his own justification. He asserts that the vessel was able to get away from the bomb without being blown up. Chip says that Kavi drowned when asked what happened to the other 3 guys. Andy slammed into the palm tree, and Nelson was attacked by a barracuda. Impairment of fertility for this reason, if there is even a possible potential for producing offsprings. Chips will tap a new female. Everyone departs after Zimmit is done lecturing except for Petra, who has accused him of as a means of punishing James. The exercise was used. It comes out that Zimmit has been having an affair with a colleague. According to him, Petra is above James. Petra believes that brains are not the main factor in making it in life. She cares too much about James to let him go to jail for an unjust crime. Zimmit is left to his own devices later on in the classroom, and he begins speculating about the many different scenarios that may play out if he went to work today. Most of the time he does nothing except eat. However, there are times when he does find his gun and bullets may be heard throughout the building. Okay, that's all for the recap for After the Dark. Thank you for watching.